In a world where love is controlled by rules and reputation, what happens when the heart refuses to follow? Benedict Bridgerton stands at a crossroads. On one side, society's expectations and his older brother's judgment. On the other, the undeniable love he feels for Sophie. Tonight, everything changes. One conversation, one stand, could define his future, and no one, not even Anthony, can sway him from what he knows is right. Asterisk. The scene opens with the soft sound of a crackling fire and the quiet shuffle of boots across polished wooden floors. Shadows dance along the walls of the Bridgerton estate, hinting at the unspoken tension building between two brothers. In this faceless telling, we see only the backs of Benedict and Anthony, their forms outlined by candlelight. Benedict's hand hovers over the railing of the staircase, tightening slightly, a small but telling sign of his resolve. The camera pans to Anthony, who stands stiffly, shoulders squared, his profile cast in shadow. He has always been the protector, the eldest who believes he knows what is best for everyone. Yet tonight, the rules he holds dear are being challenged. As the dialogue begins, it is carried entirely by a strong, clear voiceover, allowing the audience to feel the raw emotion without seeing the characters' faces. Benedict, the voice echoes, "I cannot understand why you insist on this path. Sophie is not one of our world. She is unproven, untested. Can you truly trust your heart?" Benedict's response is calm, but beneath the surface lies a storm of passion. "Anthony, it is not a matter of trust. It is a matter of knowing. I have never felt for anyone the way I feel for Sophie. I will not apologize for loving her, and I will not step back because others cannot see her worth." The camera shifts to objects and gestures that tell the story. Benedict's hand lingers over a letter he has written, edges worn, ink slightly smudged, a symbol of his sincerity and effort to communicate. Anthony's hand brushes over the mantle, gripping the edge as he struggles to maintain control. A clock ticks loudly in the background, each beat echoing the weight of the decision before them. The tension is almost tangible. Every pause, every slight movement carries meaning. Benedict takes a deep breath, stepping slightly closer, emphasizing his unyielding resolve. Anthony shifts as if bracing for impact. Yet there is no physical confrontation, only the clash of ideals and the power of emotion. The scene expands to the estate's balcony, faceless yet intimate, showing the sprawling gardens under the evening sky. The wind rustles the leaves, whispering secrets of the Bridgerton legacy and the challenges of love within a society bound by tradition. Benedict gestures toward the horizon, as if to suggest that life is bigger than any rule, bigger than any doubt. The voiceover continues, "Love is not a game of approval, Anthony. It is courage, honesty, and commitment. I will stand for Sophie, even if it means standing alone." The words hang in the air, heavy with meaning. The camera closes in on Benedict's clenched hand over the letter, his knuckles white, as the scene fades on the tension, setting the stage for the emotional defense that will follow in the next section. Asterisk. The night deepens, and the estate is quiet except for the soft flutter of curtains in the breeze. Benedict stands near the tall windows of the drawing room, silhouetted against the moonlight, his posture steady yet filled with tension. Anthony remains a shadowed figure across the room, his presence commanding, but Benedict's focus is unwavering. In this faceless portrayal, we rely on movement, gesture, and atmosphere to tell the story. Benedict's hand gently presses over his chest, a visual cue of the heart-driven conviction behind his words. The voiceover begins, carrying the weight of Benedict's emotions. "I have spent my life respecting what others thought I should do," it says, soft but firm. "But Sophie makes me want to live for myself, not for the expectations of society. She sees me. Not the Bridgerton name, not the rules, but me." The camera captures small but powerful visual symbols, a candle flickering as if alive, a rose lying on a table, its petals slightly curling, love fragile yet determined, waiting to bloom. Benedict's hand brushes the rose lightly, symbolizing his delicate care for Sophie and the seriousness of his devotion. Anthony steps closer, though still faceless, his body language tense. His shadow stretches along the wall, almost looming over Benedict. But the younger Bridgerton does not falter. The voiceover continues. Do you think love can be measured by wealth, status, or appearances? Do you think it can be judged by others? I have seen many marriages arranged, many hearts caged in gold, but my heart refuses to be trapped. Sophie is not a risk. She is the only certainty I have ever known. The tension in the room feels like it could be cut with a knife. The camera cuts to Benedict's hand closing gently around the letter he wrote, the ink glinting in the moonlight. A tangible proof of his sincerity. The scene shifts subtly to the garden below. Seen from the window, with the wind sweeping across the manicured hedges. The sound of leaves brushing against each other mirrors the unspoken emotions in the room. Benedict moves toward the balcony, his figure partially framed by the moonlight. The camera focuses on the way he stands tall, his shadow merging with the light and dark, representing the conflict between duty and desire. The voiceover takes on a slightly urgent tone. I am not asking for approval. I am asking for understanding. Sophie has given me something no one else could. Hope, trust, and a love that refuses to bend. I will fight for her, Anthony, not because I must, but because I cannot live any other way. Anthony's hand tightens on the railing. A silent reaction to Benedict's words, showing that even in disagreement, there is recognition of his brother's unwavering heart. The camera lingers on the contrast between Anthony's tension and Benedict's calm determination, highlighting that true courage is not always loud. It can be quiet, steadfast, and immovable. The scene fades slowly to darkness, leaving the audience with the lingering intensity of Benedict's declaration, setting up the emotional climax that will follow in the next section. Asterisk, the room feels smaller now. Though it has not changed, every shadow seems heavier, every candle flicker more urgent. Benedict steps closer to Anthony, though we see only their silhouettes, faces hidden by the dim light. His movements are deliberate, controlled, yet full of quiet intensity. The camera catches his hand reaching out, not to strike, but to gesture, to emphasize the strength of his conviction. Outside, a sudden gust of wind rattles the windows, as if the very night itself leans in to listen to this battle of hearts. The voiceover begins, low and unwavering. Anthony, I do not ask for your permission. I do not seek your approval. But I will not hide, I will not shrink, and I will not apologize for what my heart knows to be true. The sound of paper shifting echoes softly. Benedict holds the letter he wrote for Sophie, the ink smudged in places from nervous hands. It is not just a letter. It is proof of thought, care, and unwavering commitment. Every word he wrote carries weight. Yet it is his presence here, his refusal to back down, that speaks louder than ink or paper ever could. Anthony shifts, faceless but tense, his hands brushing the edge of the mantel as if holding onto something solid in a storm of emotion. The camera cuts to close-ups of subtle details. Benedict's boots planted firmly on the floor, his shadow stretching toward Anthony's, but never shrinking. The flicker of a candle casting moving patterns across the walls. The rustle of Sophie's dress folded neatly on a nearby chair, a silent reminder of what and who is at stake. The voiceover rises slightly. Sophie is not a gamble. She is my choice, my heart, and my future. I will not let fear, doubt, or tradition dictate what I know is right. She is my love, and I will defend her. Even if the world stands against me, the tension peaks as Benedict moves to the window, moonlight bathing the contours of his silhouette. Anthony watches, every muscle taut, conflicted. The voiceover softens, but the intensity remains. I know you want to protect me, Anthony. I know you fear what others may say. But love cannot be caged. It cannot be measured, policed, or judged. Sophie is my life, my joy, my certainty. And I will not step aside. Not for rules. Not for society. Not even for you. The camera pans upward to the night sky, stars twinkling like silent witnesses to this declaration. Shadows of the brothers remain on the floor, side by side yet separate, representing both conflict and connection. Benedict's silhouette leans slightly forward, firm yet tender, a visual statement that his heart will not be broken, no matter the opposition. Anthony's shadow trembles subtly, a sign that even the most steadfast doubts can begin to shift in the face of unwavering love. The scene ends with the wind sighing through the room, a gentle, almost approving whisper, leaving the audience suspended in anticipation of the resolution that is to come. The room is silent now. The kind of silence that carries the weight of every unspoken word. Benedict stands near the balcony, his silhouette framed by the silver glow of the moon. The garden below stretches into darkness, lit faintly by scattered lanterns, and the night seems to pause, waiting for what comes next. Anthony remains in the background, his shadow long and unmoving at first, like a wall that Benedict is determined to breach not with anger, but with truth. Every movement, every gesture is magnified in this faceless drama. The voiceover begins, calm yet piercing. Anthony, I have fought with doubt, with fear, with every expectation the world has placed before me. But none of it mattered the moment Sophie's heart met mine. She is not a choice made lightly, she is a certainty. She is the one who sees me, all of me, even the parts I have tried to hide. The camera moves to symbolic details. A wine chime swaying gently, casting soft shadows on the floor. A folded letter resting on the table, edges catching the moonlight. Benedict's fingers brushing over the rose petals once more. A silent vow of devotion. Each visual tells a story words cannot. Anthony steps forward, slow and deliberate, his posture still rigid but less imposing. He does not speak. Instead, the subtle shift of his hands, the loosening of his stance, and the softening of his shadow hint at understanding. The voiceover continues, filled with quiet triumph and unwavering love. Love cannot be dictated, Anthony. It cannot be boxed, hidden, or silenced. Sophie has given me a courage I never knew I had, a joy that cannot be measured, and a home for my heart. I will stand for her. I will protect her. And I will not be swayed, because this is the truest part of who I am. The camera pans outward to capture the estate in its entirety, soft lantern-like glimmering. The wind rustling through the trees, shadows stretching and blending. Benedict's silhouette leans slightly toward the balcony, a visual sign of openness and commitment, while Anthony's shadow lingers nearby. A silent acknowledgement that the heart cannot always be guided, only respected. The voiceover closes gently. Sometimes, the bravest act is standing for love, even when the world says you shouldn't. And tonight, love has prevailed. The scene fades slowly, leaving the audience with the image of Benedict's unwavering silhouette against the glowing night, the faint outline of Sophie's garden below, and the subtle shift in Anthony's posture, a faceless but unmistakable sign that understanding, respect, and acceptance have begun to take root. The music swells and then softens, ending on a note of quiet victory, preparing the audience for the closing message and call to action. The first light of dawn filters softly through the tall windows of the Bridgerton estate, casting long, gentle shadows across the polished floors. The night's tension has dissolved, leaving only the echo of hearts realigned and unspoken understanding. Benedict stands near the balcony, his silhouette outlined by the delicate glow of early morning. The garden below glimmers with dew, each leaf reflecting the soft light, a silent witness to love that has survived doubt and fear. His posture is relaxed now, yet still carries the quiet strength of someone who has fought for what matters most. The voiceover begins, warm and reflective. The battles we fight are not always loud. Sometimes, the bravest victories are quiet, unseen, and felt only in the heart. Tonight, I have stood for Sophie. I have faced doubt, tradition, even the watchful eyes of my own family. And still, love has prevailed. The camera pans across symbolic details. The letter Benedict wrote now rests neatly on the table, ink dried and words steady, representing promises made and kept. A single candle flickers, its flame undisturbed, mirroring Benedict's unwavering commitment. Anthony remains nearby, faceless but present, his stance softer than before. Though he says nothing, the subtle loosening of his shoulders and the way his shadow merges with Benedict suggests acceptance, silent but deeply felt. The voiceover continues, carrying a gentle, triumphant tone Anthony may never fully understand, nor need to. Some truths cannot be explained. They can only be lived. Sophie has given me life joy and a love that cannot be measured. I will protect it. I will nurture it. And I will never let it go. The camera slowly shifts to the garden, capturing a faceless figure walking along the stone path, petals scattered by the morning breeze. The faint outline of Sophie is suggested only through her presence in the environment, a hand brushing against a flower, a scarf fluttering lightly. Benedict's silhouette mirrors her movement from afar, showing that love bridges distance, presence, and even silence. The voiceover concludes, in a world ruled by expectation, I chose my heart. In the quiet of the night and the first light of morning, that choice remains true. Love is not always loud, but it is always powerful. The scene lingers on the silhouettes of Benedict and Anthony, the first rays of sunlight touching their forms, shadows stretching and merging, representing understanding, family, and the entrance of love. The music swells gently, not with triumph, but with warmth, hope, and serenity. The camera slowly pulls back, leaving the audience suspended in the beauty of a love that has survived judgment, a family learning to bend, and the quiet, unshakable strength of following one's heart. Asterisk, the morning sun rises higher, spilling golden light across the Bridgerton estate. Shadows retreat, leaving the world bathed in warmth. Benedict stands at the balcony, facing the garden where Sophie's presence lingers like a soft whisper, her scarf draped over the railing, a book left open on a stone bench. The camera captures only the environment, fluttering petals, sunlight reflecting off the fountain, the gentle sway of leaves, symbols of love, patience, and unspoken connection. Faceless yet intimate, the scene emphasizes that true love doesn't need to be fully seen to be understood. The voiceover begins, tender and resolute. Some hearts cannot be swayed. Some love cannot be measured or questioned. Tonight, I have chosen Sophie, and in choosing her, I have chosen myself. Love is not perfect, but it is powerful. It teaches, it challenges, and it endures. Benedict's silhouette leans slightly forward, as if reaching toward the unseen Sophie. The camera lingers on his hand, resting gently over the railing, fingers brushing against the morning breeze, an invisible connection between him and the one he loves. Anthony's shadow stretches across the floor, standing nearby but softened. His presence, faceless yet undeniable, suggests acknowledgement, respect, and a subtle shift in perspective. The voiceover continues, even those who doubt us can learn to understand. Even hearts hardened by tradition can bend when faced with courage, honesty, and truth. Sophie and I have faced fear, judgment, and expectation, and still we stand. The camera pans to symbolic details, the open book, the flowing scarf, and a rose in the garden bathed in sunlight, all representing a love that has survived trials and grown stronger. The scene gently transitions outdoors. Benedict's silhouette walks toward the garden path, the morning light casting long, soft shadows behind him. The breeze carries petals along the path as if nature itself is celebrating this quiet victory. The voiceover closes warmly, leaving the audience with a lingering sense of hope. Love is the bravest act of all. Stand for it, fight for it, protect it, and in the end, it will always prevail. The camera slowly pulls back to show the estate bathed in light, the garden alive with subtle movement, and the silhouettes of Benedict and the world around him harmonizing, a final, faceless testament to courage, devotion, and the power of following the heart. A soft text overlay appears. Watch Bridgerton now on Netflix Philippines, accompanied by gentle Bridgerton-style music fading out. The screen lingers just long enough for the audience to feel the emotional weight of the story, then fades to black, leaving viewers inspired, moved, and eager to see the love story unfold. Asterisk, the estate is now bathed in the soft glow of early morning. Shadows retreat, and every detail, the flutter of curtains, the glint of sunlight on the polished floors. The delicate sway of leaves in the garden feels alive, as if celebrating the victory of a love that has endured. Benedict's silhouette moves slowly along the balcony, calm, steady, yet filled with quiet triumph. His hand lingers over the railing, fingers brushing the morning breeze. A subtle but powerful symbol of connection to Sophie, even though she is only suggested through the environment her scarf draped over a bench. A book lying open, petals scattered across the stone path. The voiceover begins. Soft but resonant, love is never about perfection. It's about courage. It's about standing for someone when everything tells you not to. Tonight, I chose Sophie. I chose love. And in doing so, I chose the life I was always meant to live. Benedict pauses, looking out over the garden, the weight of the night's conflict slowly lifting. Anthony's shadow remains nearby, faceless, silent but subtly softened. A quiet acknowledgement that respect and understanding have begun to replace judgment. The camera pans across meaningful symbols, the smudged ink on Benedict's letter. The delicate rose in the sunlight, the gentle sway of the curtains, all silent witnesses to a love that refused to be shaken. The voiceover continues. Some battles are fought in silence. Some victories are quiet. But the heart always knows the truth. Sophie has given me hope, joy, and a love that cannot be measured or denied. And I will protect it, always. The scene gradually transitions to a wider view of the estate and garden. Benedict's silhouette walks down the stone path, petals swirling around him in the gentle morning wind. Every step feels purposeful, determined, and free. The voiceover closes with warmth and invitation. Love is the bravest act of all. Stand for it, fight for it, protect it. And when you do, it will always prevail. The camera slowly pulls back, showing the estate glowing under the morning sun, nature alive with movement. Shadows merging in harmony, a faceless yet deeply moving testament to devotion, courage, and the power of following the heart.